This is an outline of the three kinds of essays we mentioned earlier: for and against essay, the opinion essay, and the problem, cause, and solution essay. Of course, for each of these essays, you must write around 250 words, and you only have 40 minutes to do this. You can see that each of these essays follows a different structure. Now, following the structure will help you to write an essay which is coherent. In other words, it flows smoothly from one paragraph to the next, and this is important in the marking criteria, as we will see later in the course. We're going to begin here with the first kind of essay, the for and against essay. The for and against essay asks you to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of a topic or two opposing viewpoints. The question will say something like, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of this, or what are the benefits and drawbacks of this issue, or discuss both sides of the argument. So you know when you read the question that you should follow this structure. And you must present an equal number of paragraphs for each side of the argument in order to have a well-balanced argument. These are some examples of for and against essays. Look at the first one. An increasing number of people are migrating to cities in search of more job opportunities. However, city life can have several difficulties. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of city life. The second one says, some people believe that sports professionals are paid too much money, while others argue that their salaries are fully justified. Discuss both viewpoints and give your opinion. So this one is not exactly for and against, but it's two different viewpoints. But again, you follow the same structure for the for and against essay. And the last one says, in many countries, children are obliged to learn a foreign language at a very young age. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Now we're going to go on to analyze the structure for a for and against essay. But before we do that, I want to talk about the discussion clock. This is a very useful tool for generating ideas to use in our essay. Remember, you only have 40 minutes to write an essay, so you need to think of ideas quickly. As you can see, the discussion clock has many angles you can consider for your essay. All of these around here are different angles you can consider. Of course, you could add to these. For example, you could add the cultural viewpoint or the geographical viewpoint. I'm sure you can think of other spokes to add to the clock as well. So let's take the essay from the previous slide and see how we can use the discussion clock for this essay. An increasing number of people are migrating to cities in search of more opportunities. However, city life can have several difficulties. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of city life or of urban life. So it asks us to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of city life. So let's look at the discussion clock for ideas for this essay. Now, for the advantages, I look at the different spokes I can choose, and I think economic might be a useful idea to use in the essay. One paragraph could talk about the economic benefits of cities. Of course, we could also, the social would also be in a useful angle to take for the essay. You might choose other angles for your essay. For example, the educational benefits of living in a city. It depends what you think is more important or what you have more to say about. So we're going to take these two angles that we talked about, the economic and social, and see how we're going to use them in our essay. So let's write a for and against essay together using these ideas. First, we begin, of course, with an introduction. For the introduction, I like to follow the structure GFAT, G-F-A-T. G stands for general statement, F stands for against, and T stands for the thesis statement. Now, the general statement is the first sentence of the introduction. It introduces the topic. Then the F sentence is one sentence for, then one sentence against, and the thesis statement. We're going to look at this in detail. We'll take each sentence separately, so it's very clear how you will write your introduction. Here are some suggestions for your general statement. In other words, for the first sentence of the introduction. You could begin, it's a highly controversial issue whether. It's a well-known fact that. The trend of whatever is gaining in popularity. Something, the topic you're talking about, is on the increase. Or over recent years, something has been advancing rapidly. Let's look at how we can use these. For the first example, over recent years, technology has been advancing rapidly. Number 2, it's a highly controversial issue whether space exploration is worth the financial investment. The trend of urban migration is gaining in popularity. Or, it's a well-known fact that many professional athletes earn huge amounts of money. So you can see that these are just objective statements. They don't give your opinion. They don't show either advantages or disadvantages. They just introduce the topic. In the second sentence of the introduction, we briefly introduce both sides of the argument. In other words, the for and against, or the two different viewpoints. And you can do this in one sentence so that you can use a complex sentence. Look at these suggestions. And this is where you can use the ideas from the discussion clock. Look at this. Many people maintain that there are something and something benefits. Now, the something here would be the two ideas from the discussion clock. While others claim there are certain drawbacks that should be taken into consideration. Okay, so that's one way for the second sentence, for introducing both sides of the argument. Or, advocates of X claim that, for example, there are social and economic benefits, while opponents argue that the drawbacks should be carefully considered. And the third one, although there are valid arguments to support X, the opposing viewpoint must not be ignored. And let's look at some examples. Many people maintain that cities have social and economic benefits, while others argue there are certain drawbacks that should be taken into consideration. So you can see how we've used the discussion clock in this sentence. And the other example here, although there are valid arguments to support the high salaries of sports professionals, the opposing viewpoint should not be ignored. Then your thesis statement, in which you can use for any for and against essay. In this essay, I will discuss both sides of the argument using relevant supporting evidence and examples, and I will give my opinion. Or this essay will examine both the benefits and drawbacks of whatever you're talking about before reaching a clear opinion. So you can see these are quick and easy ways to write your introduction so you can get on to writing the main body. Now for the main body, we again follow a set structure. We should have 2 paragraphs for the advantages and 2 for the disadvantages, or 2 for the drawbacks, 2 for the benefits, or 2 for one side of the argument and 2 for the opposing side of the argument. Now, and this shows that you have considered the topic equally from both sides and that you have a balanced argument. Now, it's very important for your paragraphs to follow a proper structure. I like to follow this 3-sentence structure to be able to develop my paragraph, and so it is coherent, or so that it flows smoothly from one sentence to the other. So of course we begin with a topic sentence which presents the argument. In other words, what's your first advantage? And then you can begin something like this. One of the main advantages of, for example, city life, or of technology, or of computers, and then you present the first advantage. Or from a social point of view, city life has more opportunities for socializing. So that's your topic sentence, just a short, clear sentence to introduce the first advantage, or disadvantages if you're doing the disadvantages. And then the second sentence would be your justification or explanation of the topic statement. I like to use a complex sentence here because to show the examiner that we know how to use complex sentences, and this elevates our grammar. So look at this example. If we're talking about like the first topic sentence, which says, from a social point of view, city life has more opportunities for socializing, we could justify or explain that. Young people have a wide choice of places to meet their friends where they can discuss common topics of interest or spend their time in an entertaining way. So that's your justification sentence. The third sentence is further development. You can choose from any of these here to develop your paragraph more. For example, you could begin in addition, or give an example. You could quote statistics, or a second conditional, or continue with this means that, or any of these other examples here. So just choose one of these ways to expand your paragraph more. Look at these examples of a main body paragraph. They follow the 3-sentence structure that we talked about. Topic sentence, justification or explanation, and further development. Look at the first one. The topic sentence says, one of the main advantages of cities is from an economic viewpoint. That's my topic sentence. And then we explain that. Most industries, government offices and corporate offices are situated in or close to city centres, which means that there are more opportunities for employment. So you can see this second sentence explains the topic sentence, and it's a complex sentence using which means in the middle. And for the third sentence, remember the further development sentence, we begin. Consequently, urban dwellers can earn a steady income and enjoy a higher standard of living. So you see the 3-sentence structure, and it's a very easy structure to follow. And if you learn this, you can write your paragraphs very quickly, and they will be coherent. Let's look at the second example. From a social point of view, people in cities have the chance to interact with others from all different backgrounds. That's the topic sentence. They may study together at university or share a flat, which enables them to learn about each other's culture. So that explains it. Again, it's a topic sentence using which enables them to. And the third sentence, the further development, begins, this makes them more understanding and tolerant of differences, which prepares them for life in the globalized world we live in. So again, the 3-sentence structure, which is easy to follow. As we said, you should have 2 paragraphs for the benefits and 2 for the drawbacks, or 2 paragraphs for one side of the argument and 2 for the opposing side of the argument. And again, your paragraphs should have 3 sentences each. Now, to introduce the opposing viewpoint, you could use any of these. It could be argued that, or on the other hand, or opponents may argue that, and then continue with the first disadvantage. For the second paragraph, for the topic sentence, you could begin, another drawback worth considering is that, or again, you could use the discussion clock from an economic viewpoint and then continue. And again, we follow the 3-sentence structure, topic sentence, explanation, and further development. Let's look at an example for the disadvantages of our city essay. It could be argued that people in cities are exposed to a polluted environment. Vehicles and factories release toxic emissions into the atmosphere, which can cause serious health issues. For example, many urban dwellers suffer from asthma and other respiratory diseases, which can affect their quality of life. So you see the 3-sentence structure, topic sentence, explanation, and further development, which will ensure that your paragraphs are coherent and flow easily, flow smoothly. And of course, you must finish with a conclusion. In the conclusion, you must state your opinion. Are you for? Are you against? Or do you have a balanced view of the topic? Here are some sample conclusions which you can follow. If you are for, you could say, in conclusion, although X, whatever your topic is, for example, cities have several disadvantages, as outlined above, I strongly believe that these are far outweighed by the disadvantage or by the advantages. If you are against, you could use the same structure or this one. The obvious conclusion to be drawn is that the advantages of X are far outweighed by the drawbacks. If you are somewhere in the middle, you could say, in conclusion, although there are several valid arguments in favor of X, I believe these are balanced out by the arguments against. Often it's a good idea to round off your conclusion with another sentence. You could begin with any of these, however, if, unless, or ultimately, to make a suggestion, to comment, to give advice, or make a future prediction. Look at these examples here. However, measures must be taken to minimize the dangers to young children when surfing the internet. So this one would end a conclusion about perhaps using the computer or using the internet. So we begin with a however sentence which says, yes, I like computers, but measures must be taken to minimize the dangers to children. In other words, yes, I'm for computers or the internet, but something must be done about the negatives that I mentioned above. And look at this example of our city essay. In conclusion, although there are several valid arguments against city life, I am convinced that these are far outweighed by the arguments in favor. However, measures must be taken by the authorities to combat the issues mentioned above in order to make cities healthier and safer places to live. Look at this model essay. The topic here is, in the past, lectures were the traditional method of teaching large numbers of students. Nowadays, technology is being used to teach students. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this new approach? Let's see how each of these sentences in this essay follow the structure that we mentioned. It is a well-known fact that technology is advancing rapidly in all areas of life, and education is no exception. This is the G sentence. Remember the introduction, we followed the structure GFAT. This is the general statement. Now we will do the FA, for and against. Some people believe that this innovation has beneficially revolutionized teaching, while others claim that there are certain drawbacks that should be taken into consideration. So we have mentioned the for and against sides of the argument. And then the thesis statement. In this essay, I will discuss both sides of the argument and I will give my opinion. So that's the introduction, GFAT. Now we go on to the main body. You can see there are 4 main body paragraphs. Each have 3 sentences each, and they all follow the structure: topic sentence, explanation, further development. Let's look at the first one. One of the main advantages of technology is the flexibility it offers. Topic sentence about the flexibility of technology. We explain it in the second sentence. It is no longer necessary for students to be present in the lecture theatre for their courses, which makes it possible for adults to study part-time while holding down a job. So you can see the second sentence, the explanation sentence, explains the topic sentence, and it's also a complex sentence. The third sentence, the further development, begins with in addition. In addition, students who live in remote areas now have the opportunity to study at tertiary level. So you can see the main body paragraph follows the structure, topic sentence, explanation, which is a complex sentence, and then further development. You can see there are 4 main body paragraphs. The third main body paragraph begins, it could be argued that. In other words, now I will talk about the disadvantages. And again, it follows the same structure as the above paragraphs. The conclusion. In conclusion, although there are several disadvantages to using technology in education, I believe these are balanced out by the benefits. So here the writer has a balanced argument, and he continues, ultimately, it's up to the individual to choose which mode of learning works best for him or her. So the writer finishes with ultimately, choose what's best for you. So you can see the structure here for the for and against essay, introduction, GFAT, 4 main body paragraphs, and the conclusion. The next essay has the topic, Technology has an increasingly important impact on modern day life. Discuss the benefits and drawbacks of this development. Now you can read this essay and see again how each sentence follows the structure of the for and against essay, which we discussed. This essay has the topic, Pets are becoming increasingly common in households today. Discuss the benefits and drawbacks of this trend. Again, introduction, GFAT, 4 main body paragraphs. Each main body paragraph begins with a topic sentence, continues with explanation of the main body topic sentence, and then develops the paragraph further using either statistics, a personal example, in addition, or a conditional. Let's look at this essay topic below. Over recent years, mobile phones have become an indispensable tool in our daily lives. However, there are several problems such as social and medical which must not be ignored. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of mobile phones. So you can try this essay on your own following the structure we talked about earlier. First of all, let's match the ideas on the left with the justification on the right. You could use any of these ideas in your essay, or feel free to think of anything else which you would prefer to use in your essay. Number 1, using mobile phones can be dangerous. How would you justify this? Probably, talking on a mobile phone while driving reduces concentration by up to 30% and so greatly increases the chances of causing an accident. So you could use these in one paragraph for the disadvantages. Look at number 2. Mobile phones are very useful for people who are often on the move. How would you justify that? What would you choose from here? Have a look at these. Anything here? Probably G. They can be easily contacted no matter where they are. So that would be an advantage. Let's look at number 3. Some people claim that owning a mobile phone is a waste of money. How would you justify that? Probably D. The basic charge for the service is much higher than for a normal telephone and the calls are extremely expensive. So again, that would be a disadvantage. Let's look at 4. Having a mobile phone increases your personal security. That would probably go with A. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, you can call for help no matter where you are. Number 5, they can be a cause of adverse health effects. What would that go with? Probably B. The radiation could lead to cancer. Look at number 6. Mobile phones are used for much more than just making and receiving calls. How would you justify number 6? Probably with E. Users can send text messages, surf the internet, take photos, and listen to music. Look at number 7. Mobile phones can be a problem in some public places. That would probably go with H. Ringing phones can cause disturbances and loss of concentration in cinemas and school lessons. And number 8, they offer a great deal of entertainment. That would go with C. There are many applications available for gaming and social networking. So you could use these in your essay. You need to choose 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages and write this essay to answer this question.